creators and stars of Stranger Things 5, in Volume 2, Noah Schnapp explains Will Byers' leap of faith, saying, "It was so freeing." Warning: spoilers details from Stranger Things 5 Volume 2 are included in this post. In the penultimate episode of Stranger Things 5, Will Byers, Noah Schnapp, makes a significant leap of faith after surviving Vecna's mental invasion. Will understands that unless he reveals a truth he's been hiding, he will remain susceptible to the monster. Therefore, he takes charge of his own fate instead of allowing Vecna to continue preying on his humiliation and guilt. Will comes out as gay in front of all of his friends and family in a poignant scene from Episode 7, The Bridge. It was so liberating. I mean, this scene has been built up for a very long time. Since the first season's first episode, I would contend, Schnapp tells Deadline. Therefore, having that moment at last, and simply having that conversation, Will frequently communicates through his facial expressions, but it was incredibly liberating to finally be able to put his feelings into words and share them with everyone. Although it has never publicly stated that he dislikes girls, writers Matt and Ross Duffer appear to be hinting at his sexual orientation in previous seasons. When we'll learn of Robin's Maya Hawke relationship with Vicky, Amy Beth McNulty, and started questioning his buddy about how she came to grips with her own sexuality. It became much more apparent during Season 5. However, he doesn't comprehend that disclosing this aspect of his identity is the only way to move ahead until Vecna torments him once more. According to Schnapp, Will delayed doing so in part because he was still struggling with his feelings for his best friend, Mike Wheeler, Finn Wolfhard, despite having come to terms with his sexuality. By the time he comes clean, Schnapp believes he has come to terms with the likelihood that Mike won't feel the same way. He claims this knowledge felt very relatable. According to Schnapp, by the first volume, he accepts his own identity, and that's what allows him to unleash these powers. However, he claims that it takes him through a sort of Volume 2 to truly realize that it was never about Mike, but rather about himself. I mean, I thought it was pretty nicely done and true to the plot. Being in love with a best friend who isn't in love with you is something I know I could absolutely identify with. It seems to be a realistic portrayal of growing up and being LGBT. Although the show's creators, Matt and Ross Duffer, have never made it clear, Schnapp has been quite outspoken about his opinions regarding Will's sexual orientation. This has only sparked internet debate as fans started to speculate that it would be crucial to his Season 5 arc. He noted that since Season 1, when Will's buddies used to make fun of him for not like girls, the show has been hinting to this point. The sequence is now acknowledged by creators Matt and Ross Duffer as something we've been building to for a long time. The latter tells Deadline, "We were anxious, I believe, primarily because we wanted to act in Noah's best interests. We've been working with him since he was a young child, so it goes without saying that we discussed the scenario with him over the years." Ross added, "We all wanted to do it correctly because we knew it was crucial. We worked on that coming out scene for a longer period of time than any other scene in the entire series. I believe we kept working on it until it seemed perfect. When they got it right, how did they know? Obtaining the endorsement of the actor, who has been portraying the character for 10 years, and is likely the most familiar with him. Giving it to Noah was the litmus test, but seeing how he reacted to it gave us confidence." Ross continued. According to Schnapp, Will's coming out felt somewhat similar to his own, enabling him to use his personal experience to access his character's feelings at that precise moment and make it feel so real. However, the actor wanted to make sure that the cultural and political disparities that existed throughout the 40 years between the two boys' revelations were also handled seriously. It was about making sure I truly understood the landscape and environment that I'm declaring this in, where the Reagan administration wouldn't even acknowledge that gay was a real word and the AIDS epidemic was rampant. People thought you were sick and contagious if you even came out, he added. According to Schnapp, Will genuinely worries that he could be abandoned and lose everything. So just having the stakes in my head that I really want to make sure I got right. Naturally, all I wanted was for it to feel as genuine as possible. It's a crucial sequence because it will impact a lot of actual young Wills who are grappling with their identities. I wanted it to be ideal for them, and due credit to this character, who has been building to this for a long time. He went on, so, yeah, just make it feel as authentic and natural as possible. Will sobs as he admits that Vecna had attempted to persuade him that his loved ones wouldn't support him if they found out. He claims the monster showed him a false world while he was imprisoned in Vecna's mindscape, and as a result of this revelation, he lost a number of them, according to Vecna's vision of the future. People started to gradually distance themselves from him once he revealed his true self. However, it wasn't that they rejected him openly. He claims that by being honest with them, he intends to convince both Vecna and himself that this won't occur. Will is nervous at first, but once he starts his monologue, the words just come out of him almost uncontrollably. Noah Schnapp acknowledges that he sobbed while reading Will's crucial scene in Stranger Things Volume 2. I was nervous exclusive. In the most recent episode of Stranger Things, Will Byers revealed something significant to his friends and family. Noah Schnapp is ecstatic. Will Byers confesses to his family and friends that he is gay in the closing moments of Stranger Things Season 5, Volume 2. Schnapp, 21, claims he cried reading this poignant sequence because Matt and Ross Duffer, the show's co-creators, wrote it so perfectly. I was nervous, Schnapp admits to People. I thought, how are they going to write that? However, as I read it, I started crying and thought, this is perfect. They succeeded. No notes are present. He finds it impressive that they were able to maintain the monologue's authenticity to both life and the character, who has been having difficulty accepting his sexuality ever before his identity was revealed in Season 4. He remarks, they told me they went to some queer family and friends to help understand how to do it right. Regarding the Duffer brothers, the scene where Will's brother Jonathan, Charlie Heaton, and his friends Lucas, Caleb McLaughlin, Dustin Gavin Matarazzo, Mike Finn Wolfhard, and 11 Millie Bobby Brown all stand up and embrace him after he emerges was the only thing Schnapp was concerned about when he received the scripts. I would say that I was a little anxious about each person getting up on their own, wondering if it would be strange. However, everything felt so genuine and natural at that very moment, and it worked. Additionally, Schnapp was pleased that Will's momentous occasion wasn't just a sob fest. At first, he was content because he was sort of reliving those memories, and it almost makes it hit harder. Will's revelation was prompted by a vision that Vecna, Jamie Campbell Bower, showed him, which foretold that if he came out to his friends, he would finish up alone. Will claims in the episode that the prophesy felt so real, but his mother, Winona Ryder, brother, and friends reassure him that they would never abandon him. The reality is that I am different, but I haven't told any of you this because I don't want you to think differently of me. I simply pretended not to be because I didn't want to be. I aspired to be like everyone else. I am like you, and I want to be like my buddies. In the poignant passage, Will confesses, I'm like you in almost every way. We enjoy milk duds and our popcorn with extra butter, Coke with Pop Rocks, bike racing, comic book trading, NASA, Steve Martin, Lucky Charms, and pretty much anything else. I simply don't like girls. In Volume 1, Will unlocks his link to Vecna and uses his powers to destroy the Demogorgons by coming to terms with who he is and accepting himself. Schnapp adores his character's journey in this final season. I believe it was really authentic, and it's really nicely done. According to the actor, the first volume is kind of accepting his own inner, just telling himself that this is real and this is who I am. And finally, when he does say that and acknowledge that he can harness those powers. Saying it to yourself, however, does not equate to living your whole truth and sharing everyone. Then, as you can see in the second volume, he finds the strength to live an entirely honest life. By the end of episode 7, he has finally come to terms with that and is prepared to completely vanquish the evil. The trip is just like how real life works, according to Schnapp. You don't suddenly come to terms with who you are and tell everyone. Internal acceptance comes first, followed by external acceptance. It was truly unique to be able to perform that, and it's just so beautifully crafted. Will's path to genuine self-acceptance has also provided comfort to Schnapp, who came out as gay in 2023. I always kind of mirrored the path a little bit with Will and my personal identification, seeing how fans responded to him over the years and accepted him, especially in Season 4, when it was extremely clear that Will was homosexual and people still loved him so much. Oh, what am I hiding over here if they love him that much? I thought the back of the public has definitely made an impact on Schnapp, who states, "I can't even imagine how much of an impact this scene could make on other young kids out there struggling with coming out, and that's what just means so much to me." Netflix is currently broadcasting the first and second volumes of Stranger Things Season 5 at 8 p.m. Eastern Time on December 31st. The finale will be released